plenary session of this afternoon. The last plenary session, last plenary speech is about to begin, which is going to be taken by Honorable Mr. Sanket Vaidya. He is Campus Talent Acquisition Manager for System, and this is his introduction. He has over more than 16 years of IT industry experience, including operations, training, and majority in human resources. Currently, he is working as a campus recruiter manager, human resources, with Persistent Systems Limited. Persistent System Limited, experienced in campus recruitment, HR shared services, employee relations, employee engagement, performance management, and other strategic human resource relevant programs. Ladies and gentlemen, he has worked on company-wide projects to support organization goals on inclusion and diversity, campus flagship projects for students to make their journey from campus to corporate a memorable one. Ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Shri Sanket Vaidya has worked on programs like to increase retention, performance management, policy revamping to benefit employees, internal communications, social programs for employees, etc. And we are really privileged and honored to have such a such an experienced personality here in our conference, and I would like to request him cordially to go ahead with his presentation. Honorable Sanket sir, please go ahead with your presentation. Our students are ready.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. I just want to confirm one thing before you were able to hear me properly, all of you, if I can get some kind of confirmation, I get started.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your audio is okay, sir. It's working properly, sir.
Okay, great. Great. Okay,
Yes,
thank you so much for this. So thanks, Prasanna sir. Thank you for inviting me, and it's always a privilege to talk to all the younger generation. Oh, let me just start by saying I really don't plan to do any presentation. I don't want to bore all of you. I know all of you have been here for a while, for quite some time, with more of understanding and listening to a lot of other stalwarts, other individuals as to what they feel about it. I'm just going to give you some key notes. By the way, I just want to congratulate Global Group for having more than almost, I think, 13 selects from they've been selected at Persistent at a 4.51 package. So, which is a big congratulations to the ones, in case if you are listening. If you are not there, please take our congratulations from. So thank you so much. Right. So I'm going to talk predominantly on three primary things, and then I would have something that I want to share on behalf of my organization. So first things first, I think what all of you and all of the entire student fraternity that we have, the three important things that I think we should focus on is, first is being brilliant at the basics, right? Like you would have heard the saying, the common sense is very uncommon these days. What it typically means is whatever is the basic understanding that one should have, an individual should have, is primarily missing, right? What I'm trying to convey to you from a student perspective is all you have to ensure that your basics, the one that you have learned in your college, by virtue of your faculties that have explained you, that have told you, have toiled for you, and taken a lot of efforts from you. All I want to ensure that mention that regardless of the branch that you are in, right, you have to ensure that your basic, your fundamentals have to be brilliant, right? While you will do all the extra learning by taking up another skill, learning a new language, Lockdown has made a lot of chefs and the master chefs across. So you would be cooks now, right? That is an added advantage. Unfortunately, does not qualify you to become or to be hired in any of the companies unless and until they are into hotel industry. But participating in hackathons, quizzes are something which is over and above, and I think you should do all of that. But being brilliant at the basics is something what I really want all of you to do, right? While I'm saying all of this, not because it is a happy realization for me at this point of juncture in my life, I've realized that our basics have to be in place. But that's just a piece of advice through my experience. Second thing, what I really want you to know and understand and is self-study is going to be the key now. And I'm not very sure if any of these pointers have been talked about before, but uh, self-study is something which is going to be with you forever. Nobody can take that from you, right? Uh, it is all the more important because now, like your colleges have become virtual, your companies have also going to be become virtual. You may never see the face of the companies that you may want to work with and still enjoy all the perks and benefits of that very company, right? So that is something which is going to be the future, and that the new normal has already begun. All of us are right now remotely talking and working together, right? So while that is going to happen, so there will be some restrictions, some limitations to the team bonding that you would see in the corporate, like the one that you would have enjoyed a couple of years ago in your college days, where you have to group studies that you were doing. All of those things have taken a backseat, and that is something which is the need of the hour. It has to be all very individual specific, right? So self learning is something where you have to be dependent on yourself. You may not have a friend whom you can just tag along anytime, whether it is 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the night. You can go at his or her place and ask him or her to make you understand how it works. Things will be very difficult now and very different, right? And in these times, this is something which all of us have to take a cognizance of it and start learning things by ourselves. Of course, with some mentorship is already there, but the preliminary research for any of the new topics, whether it is your studies, whether it is a company, whether it is a project that you are being allocated to, whether it is the client that you're going to work for, a lot of self-study needs your attention, right? That is going to be the future. I think all of us have to ensure that you do that. A third thing that I want to talk from persistent perspective is the collaboration between the industry and the academia, which is the corporate and the campus, right? And you would have seen quite a few programs that we've been running for a different academic institutions and universities, and we tell them, we let them know that whatever is real time is something which needs to be understood, right? That is something which we need all of you to be aware about. What typically happens if you look at that, a student who has learned some things in the college, by the time he or she lands up in a corporate, the world that they see is completely different. You would have heard it from a lot of times that the theory is not equivalent to practicals. So a real time thing is something which is very important, and that is why, to bridge the gap, to know what the industry is teaching right now, and just to, because I'm coming from an IT background, you would have heard something which is called as the software don't have a huge lifespan, right? What you are studying today may become obsolete tomorrow, and because there has been a history of all of that. So you have to be sure that whatever the industry trends are, you have to cope with that. You have to be there, and that's why the self study and your fundamentals, the foundation needs to be intact. I would like to cite a few programs that we've been running for our campus initiatives is Career Recrupedia. Some of you would have heard about it. I see somebody. Okay. All right. So Career Recrupedia is another, as I said, we asked the industry expert to come and talk about a lot of things which happens in the current market scenario, right? And all of you, some of you would have had that option to attend those programs. We've had around 7 webinars till now. So some of the efforts from our end. We also do something called as Career Compass. So by the time uh, for the ones who've been selected, are undergoing a virtual engagement program with us, and by the time you actually join the company, you get to understand a lot of cultural aspects of it, a lot of things which typically you wouldn't have understood unless and until you would have joined the organization. So some of these initiatives are very important for all of you to have that affinity, to have that proximity towards the organization that you are actually going to work. Right? Some of the things I really want to ask you, and this is very key time that you should do, right? You have to absolutely not hesitate in asking any questions to anybody. Typically, and I can vouch, and I've also been one of you. I was also one of them who was never asking questions. It was always my friend whom I used to go to and ask, what are they trying to say? What did he teach you? Right? We have so much fear in ourselves that we don't really ask the questions to the right at the right time and to the right individual, to the right person. So I think you should stop being hesitant, have any inhibitions at what will people think, people will see me in bad light. And you would have seen a lot of examples for yourself. So the people who've been blunt and have shown little confidence of asking a question or something like that, they have a very different outlook towards the life, right? Securing a 90% is actually not a what do we call a measurement of anyone's. It's not a testimony for anyone's success or failure. You could see now the way that the companies are hiring is not restricted to the IIT. So don't feel disheartened about that. Okay, I got into this college or I got into that college. Those are very irrelevant now. If you see, all of these companies have started their own what do we say, entrance kind of programs, right? They've reached out to the colleges. Your entrance is everything for you. So regardless of whether you secure a 40% or a 50% or a 60%, or as long as the way it happens in a company context based on their policies, it is absolutely irrelevant. Even we as Persistent have been hiring through the likes of the Smart India hackathons and different programs that we do. So if somebody is very good at hackathon and is meeting the bare minimum criteria of the passing percentage, I don't really care whether you've been a merit student or you've just passed by 60%. It doesn't really matter to any one of us. As long as you are able to deliver or we are able to see the promise or the spark in you based on this thing. So everything has changed now, right? You have to another. So I'm going to quote and I'm going to use Dr. Anand's concept of Me Enterprise. Dr. Anand is our founder, member, and chairman and managing director of Persistent. And always says that we have around there are 4 things that one as at a career should be focusing upon, right? And uh, so he actually typically puts the entire career of 40 years into 4 quadrants, right? So he calls it Me Enterprise. So if anybody wants to follow footsteps of some individual who's an accomplished leader, right? I think you can go and do some internet searching also. So it's not too much of gyan, but I think it is very important. It's just a one line thing. So as I said, I don't want to be the someone who's in between the closure of the program and you've the time that you've spent here. So quickly, just summing up, right? The first 10 years, the first decade that Dr. Anand says that you should be doing is focus on learning and networking. So when he says networking, he specifically means of making relationships with your peer group, your manager, your subordinates, right? Your clients, your customers, right? While your learning is everlasting, it doesn't really end anytime. But networking is something during your first 10 years of your career, you have to ensure that you build a network of your own, right? For anything, you have, in case if you happen to have, if you somebody asks you that, do you have a friend in, let's say, right from an Apple to any small startup that is right besides your home, you should be able to say yes. Based on the contacts that you will establish in the first 10 years of your career, those are going to be the best contacts till the time you have a successful career. If like your first few friends in your life, your childhood friends remain forever, your school friends remain forever, your college friends remain forever. Other friends that you acquire through your companies may not last for a longer period of time. But in the first 10 years, you have to ensure that your um, networking is very rock solid, right? So I think you should focus up on that. The second 10 years, you should focus on the thing that you really like and you want to become an expert. So in case if you are fond of, let's say, projects on artificial intelligence, or you're fond of becoming a teacher, or you're fond of uh, being going into different domains or whatever, you've got to ensure that you take expertise in that matter, right? Third is in the third decade, which is the 31st year of your 21st year of your career, you should look for making a corner office for yourself, right? Whether it is starting up of your own business or growing up a ladder because you've already completed more than 20 years. To see in the next 30 years, in the next 10 years of that 30-year slot, you have your own office in the place that you've been working. So have a plan about that, right? And the fourth year, which is the December year of your the December decade of your career, which is the um, uh, retirement kind of last 10 years of your working life. I think you should be more of a mentor to people. You should be someone who is going to be to the society at large, and plan for your uh, retirement life, right? So how would you make money once you do not have a job, or how would you engage yourself, right? So quickly, as I said, I'm just going to do a recap. The first one is first decade, first 10 years of your career should be learning and networking. Second 10 years would become focusing on becoming an expert, that you are doing something. Third 10 years of your career should be for yourself to identify an office and have a full-fledged plan. And the last 10 years of your career, you should be more like a leader or a nurse, or a mentor to a society at large, and have some plans about how and what are you going to do in your post-retirement life, right? So those were quite a few observations that I think I should be able to share that based on my experience. So those were my 2 cents. And as I said, and I promised I did not take a lot of your time, I think this will be helpful to a lot of you. So I wish you all the very best. I want all of you to stay safe, take necessary precautions. All of you now are eligible to take vaccinations. Please feel free to follow those norms and go and get vaccinated. These are some of the things that we'll have to do to have a very safe environment for us. With that, I thank you once again, Harpreet sir, and the entire global group for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this program. And thank you so much for your time. With this, I hand it over back to the MOC. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Sanket sir. It's been pleasure to have you, and you have given a very good advice to our students about the career planning, the four quadrants of their life, that is first 10 years, the next 10 years, and the next 10 years, and the last December 10 years of the career. We would like to thank Persistent Technologies on behalf of our chairman, sir, directors, sir, senior staff members, and most importantly, the student fraternity. Uh, we love to be associated with Persistent Technology, and it's always pleasure to have somebody from Persistent to guide our students. Thank you very much, sir.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again. All the best to all of you. I'm leaving the meeting.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye bye, sir. Prasanna, sir. प्रसन्न सर, डायरेक्टर सर हैं क्या ऑनलाइन?